Howdy gamers, and today we're going to be taking a look at Undertale. And I know you're thinking, no, it's not 2015, I am just 5 years late to be talking about Undertale. But the reason why I'm doing this is because currently I'm doing a series on this channel where I look at the definitive top 100 games of all time. And this happens to be number 100. If you haven't seen that video, don't worry, I'll have a link to it at the end of this video. But for now, let's do something no one's ever done before and talk about Undertale. My history with Undertale started all the way back in 2015 when the game came out. I heard everyone talking about how great it was, and so naturally, I didn't play it. I had plans to play it one day, so I avoided all spoilers for it, but I never ended up playing it until about 10 months ago. It was my birthday, so I had a bit of extra money, and I was going to Best Buy to get a copy of Dragon Quest Builders for the Switch. I'd played the demo thinking it looked fun, but when I got to Best Buy, they didn't actually have the game. But I'm sure as you guessed, they did have Undertale. I didn't think it had a physical release, but at some point I guess it did, and I just never heard of it. I honestly hate buying digital games, so that was part of the reason why I'd never gotten Undertale. But as I was saying, instead of ordering Dragon Quest Builders off of Amazon, instead I bought Undertale in one go. I went in with not too high expectations, but honestly I was blown away. If you still haven't heard anything about Undertale, the game's story is that humans and monsters used to live together. But one day, a war broke out, and the humans won, sealing away the monsters. Many years later, a girl accidentally falls on top of a hole in Mount Eber, which causes her to fall where the monsters are sealed. From here on out, the game plays out as a normal RPG. Gotcha! The thing that makes Undertale so great is how it strays away from normal RPGs. Instead of the normal choosing between different attacks, healing, running away when you encounter an enemy, you get to choose between fighting, acting, using an item, or sparing. As well, when your enemy attacks, instead of just taking it or pressing a button at the right time to avoid damage, you get to do a bullet hell type dodging minigame. However, the cool thing here is that all enemies have different attacks that they will do, and when you encounter two enemies at once, they both use their attacks at once for an extra challenge, which is really cool. And I guess I should talk about the different menu options when attacking that I mentioned earlier. Attacking will take you into this menu and you'll have to time your attack to do the most damage possible. But of course you can get different weapons which causes different attack screens, but in the end it just comes down to timing your attack correctly. The item button is just a basic item button like in most RPGs, but the act button, like enemy attacks, vary from enemy to enemy, usually with some sort of comedic thing happening, and this allows you to show mercy to the enemy. Speaking of the mercy button, after doing an act or other thing, it varies from enemy to enemy. Once their name turns yellow, that means you can spare them and do no harm. Because of this is the friendly RPG where no one has to die. You heard me right, in Undertale you choose whether you want to kill an enemy, which will lead to you having control of the way the story plays out. Depending on who you kill, NPCs will have different dialogue options, and in the grand scheme of things, choosing to kill everyone, not kill anyone, or a mixture of killing some people and not, will lead to three different endings: the pacifist ending, the genocide ending, or the neutral ending. And in the neutral ending, there are several variations, like the Alfie ending. Now I won't get into endings for spoiler reasons, but just know that once you do one, you'll probably want to do them all. And since I don't want to talk about spoilers, let's talk about airline food. I mean, what's the deal with that stuff? In case you didn't notice, that was a joke. A nice take at comedy. Which, as hilarious as I am, this game does a lot better of a job at it than I do. If someone you know has played Undertale, they'll probably tell you how funny this game is. Toby Fox does a great job with making you actually want to talk to all the NPCs in the game. Not because you feel like you'll miss something important if you don't talk to everyone in a village, but because almost every NPC has something funny to tell you. But it's not just the NPCs either. There are jokes with the environment and even the soundtrack. The song playing right now is literally called, and I quote, "Can you really call this a hotel? I didn't receive a mint on my pillow or anything." And as for environmental humor, I don't want to give too many away because they are best experienced for yourself. But as an example, in the tutorial section of the game, and I say that with quotations because this game does a good job about teaching you its mechanics without actually telling you what to do, but basically the joke comes when you have to push 4 rocks. Previously, you the player have come across a sign that said 3 out of 4 rocks recommend you push them. As a player you assume it's a throwaway joke, but then you eventually have to push 4 rocks. Now out of nowhere, the final rock gets all defensive about you pushing it. It's an excellent joke and might be just the funniest stuff I've ever seen. Honestly, the opening part of Undertale was perfect though, because it sets you up for the rest of the game, teaching you combat, puzzles, the game's sense of humor, and also teaching you that this game has an amazing soundtrack. I'm not exaggerating when I say that, without a doubt, This game has one of the best soundtracks of the last decade. Every song is amazing. In case you haven't noticed by now, every song in this entire video, except for the first song, has been a song from Undertale. This game has such a wide range of songs, to happy and upbeat ones to more somber ones. Even if you have never played Undertale before, I guarantee you have heard one of their songs, whether that be Megalovania or Hopes and Dreams. The sound design as a whole is good, and is just another perfect part of this game. If you enjoyed this video so far and I've convinced you to try out Undertale for the first time, that's amazing. I'm happy that you're finally going to play Undertale. But now, I'm going to be getting into spoilers about different endings of the game, so if you're planning on playing, please skip to this timestamp on screen. I know that you might be fine with spoilers, but please take it from me with personal experience, you don't want to have the ending spoiled before you play. That said, let's talk about one of the best endings in video games of all time. As I said earlier, whether you want to kill or not leads to you having control of the way the story plays out. Even with the normal ending, there are still variations in the way the story plays out. Personally, in my first playthrough, I killed Papyrus, because I didn't know that my actions had consequences, and until the very end, I didn't know that. I just played through the game like normal, till I got to the last corridor, which is where you meet Sans for the final time. Everything up to this point was pretty normal, if I'm being honest. And then he starts talking. And then, this happens. If I'm being honest, when this first happened, my heart skipped a beat. I wasn't expecting him to say that, and I was taken aback, because honestly, I had no idea that my actions had consequences outside of there being 3 main endings. So like I said, I went in completely spoiler-free. But from there, the game has an amazing ending with the boss fight against Asgore and Flowey, and the game ends. After beating it, I thought this game was like a 96 out of 100. I didn't think it was perfect, but then I replayed it for this video, because remember, I'm going through the top 100 games of all time list. When I played it this time, I wanted to do the genocide round, because haha, Megalovania funny, haha, I wanna fight Sans, haha. I honestly thought like that, and like I said, I thought that my actions wouldn't have consequences outside of the 3 endings, but to my surprise, I had another moment with my best friend Sans. I walked across the bridge and Sans was there, and he told me that I was going to fight his brother soon, and if I continued on like this, I was going to have a very bad time. And I sure found that funny, because he said I'm going to have a bad time. That's the funny line. But once again, I was taken aback and my heart skipped a beat, because I just wasn't expecting him to say that. But even then, I didn't know how much a genocide run was going to completely change things up, until I got to Snowdin, the first major town of the game. And it went from a town bustling with life, to a complete ghost town. It was so creepy, and it was at this moment that I realized my actions actually had consequences outside of slight dialogue changes. The rest of the game is super eerie, and honestly, just the fact that, like I said, my actions had consequences outside of dialogue options was so mind-blowing, because before this, the only RPG I had played was a bit of the Mario RPGs in Pokemon. For anyone wondering, I haven't done the pacifist ending, but I plan to do it one of these days. Basically, I played through the rest of the game, I beat Sans, and I had no idea how the ending was going to play out. But, in case you haven't, you walk up, and then you see Flowey. He's begging for his life. And in the normal playthrough, Flowey is a freaking beast. He's super hard to beat, but at this point, you're too powerful, he can't stop you. You then walk up, you kill Flowey, and then a cutscene starts with you facing yourself, like your player icon, and then he does the attack animation, and the screen just goes completely black. If you're playing on PC at this point, the game will close its window, because you literally just killed yourself. It's such an amazing ending, but now you're all probably wondering, what do I think of this game? Obviously I liked it, but to give this game a score out of 100, I would give it a 100 out of 100. On top of that, I would also give this game my patented Eric Derrick Must Play Award. This is the only time I've ever given out this award, but this is also the only review I've ever done. But that's besides the point. The point is, if you haven't played this game already, I highly recommend that you do. It's on Steam, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and PlayStation for only 15 bucks. And if you didn't skip the spoiler part of the video, don't worry, I didn't spoil that much. The game is only 6.5 hours long, but if you do all 3 playthroughs like I recommend, the game comes around to 20.5 hours long. With that said, if you have already played the game and are looking for something to do during quarantine, I recommend checking out the YouTube channel Sometimes Polly. I'll have their video on Chibi Robo linked at the end card of this video. Basically, it's quarantine, you guys are bored, so every video I'm going to link a different YouTube channel in the end card of this video, so that way you guys can stay on YouTube and keep checking out other YouTubers. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the video, stay safe, and I love you guys.